everybody. We're coming to you live from
Sip Coffee
House
in
2 in Highland, Indiana. And we would like to welcome our guest today, Michael T. Ball, who has just been freshly appointed on the Griffith Economic Development Commission. So we're going to be talking to Michael about the economic development in Griffith in general, what a great place it is to live. It's kind of a cousin community of Highland, so we're kind of neighbors, and actually he used to live in Highland that we just found out about. So welcome to our show, and we'll get back with you here shortly. We got a couple of things to cover. One of them is weather. I think everyone maybe, or no, they don't want to hear about this, but you're going to get it anyway, so tough. Today is going to be on and off rain. It is towards tonight. It's going to be even more rain. And Friday we have even less chance of a rain, but yet the possibility does exist for likely showers. Those possibilities will reduce by Saturday, but what you'll see when we get to the detailed forecast, you find out why there's going to be a constant possibility all through the weekend of rain. So let's get after it and show you some of the details. One of the things, and I don't know why anyone would want to go swimming out in
this yucky?
Well, yeah, in this yucky weather, but just be forewarned, there is a swimming danger of undertow in the South Lake Michigan area. And this is a very turbulent lake in the south end anyway, so whenever there's adverse weather conditions, you can almost bet that there's going to be some undertow coming towards the southern part of Lake Michigan. Small marine craft warnings are in effect, so just watch out and don't get in the water. It's really, who's swimming now anyway?
You go up to your knees, go up to your thighs, but I wouldn't go any deeper than that, just because of that risk of the undertow.
Right. And so here we look at Highland. The detailed forecast is coming up just a bit. Showers likely today, all and on off today, and I'll show you the reason for that. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Then tomorrow, Friday, we end up with a 40% chance of showers throughout the day. Friday night, it drops down to 20. And then Saturday, we have, again, 20% cloudy, but the likelihood of showers and thunderstorms are somewhat reduced. Then the evening, we have chance continuing 30% of showers. So let's look at the mechanics, as I call it. Here's the detailed forecast, and you can come back to that if you like. Again, just pretty much what I restated. Showers likely today all through the day. The high should be around 70, so it's going to be a moderate temperature today. Winds out of the northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Again, chance of precipitation is going to be riding at around 60%. New precipitation amounts up to a 1/10 of an inch, so it's not a whole lot of rain, but it's just going to stick around. Tonight, again, we're going to look at 61, so it's going to be great sleeping weather. You could probably start tuning down the air. Then Friday, we have a 40% chance of showers. It's going to be probably mostly cloudy throughout the day. The high of 69, so temperatures are coming down.
Yeah, they are.
And
right now,
then we jump in, less of a possibility of rain on Saturday. Mostly cloudy, though. The high is 71. Again, we're cooling down. So let's look at the mechanics in the United States. One of the things that we do have still the after effects of the tropical depression hit the coastal, the Mexico coast area. So we are looking at high probability of rain throughout the area, and it's kind of like a whipping effect, a swirl effect, if you will, going throughout the area today. So you can see is what Kelly refers to as the guacamole is present in the area.
That's right. Get the tortilla chips.
And then coming tomorrow, again, you see that dark green area. That's the most likely for rain in the area. So that's going to be moving towards the south. And although we are going to have about a 20-30% chance of thunderstorms and rain in the area. So again, we get in
skirting under us that heavier.
Right, and again, the light green is just the possibility. The dark green is more than likely. And so let's look at the radar. So this is the Great Lakes Doppler radar composite, made up of Doppler radars from throughout the throughout the Great Lakes area, put into a composite image. So you see there, yeah, we still have some nasty stuff out to the west, and actually, I do have some things here I want to talk about. The reason why this is, Tropical Depression Gordon continues to bring heavy rain and flash flooding concerns a portion of the southern and central plains and the mid-Mississippi Valley. So that Tropical Depression Gordon is still causing havoc. So let's look at it from a national and this is where you can get the idea of what has happened in the Gulf Coast. As you can see, we have like a swirling weather pattern generated from that tropical depression in the south. A lot of moisture got thrown up in the upper levels, so and it just makes it right. But however, as you can see with our temperatures, we do have a cold front coming in from the south. So that ridge, right where you see those storms up above the upper Lake Michigan area, are right where that ridge exists right now. And that's why there's going to be some turbulent weather up in that area. And just be forewarned. But as you go upper towards the north, you'll see the weather clear up quite a bit. And that's it for our weather. Now we're going to go through some events we have in the area.
We've got this huge indoor garage sale and card and comic show coming up at Lincoln Center. Oh, the Wind Down Summer event, which is this Friday from 5 to 7:30 p.m. and it's over there at the Cancer Resource Center in Munster, right off of Ridge Road. $30 per ticket. They're going to have little noshes and things like that. You can sample some wines and some beers. Bill and I are going to be there along with a couple of friends of ours, and come on down and help support this amazing organization.
And this one I'll do.
Yeah, go ahead.
New open gym hours at the Lincoln Center. So just be forewarned, beginning September, which we're in already, 2018, open gym will begin at 3:30 p.m. Regularly on weekdays. Check weekly fieldhouse schedules to confirm for a particular day. So we've got those sitting out front on the desk when you come into the Lincoln Center. And also, before I hand it back to Kelly, the new autumn schedule is out for the Highland Parks and Recreation Department. You should have gotten it in the mail with your water bill. If not, they have them right there at the front desk, right in the Lincoln Center.
No, those don't usually come with the water bill. They usually get mailed out separately
or
put in with the free newspaper thing that comes out all the time with all the cool ads and things.
I'm still learning, folks. I'm only been in Highland for about 8 months.
It's just the gazebo news that comes out with
okay. But
water bill.
Let's put it this way. If you don't get one at home, which we always have people coming in year-round asking for them, please stop by the Lincoln Center, and we've got them right out there in the front desk if you don't have them. And it has a very detailed description of all the programs that are offered.
All the classes and things.
All the classes at the Parks and Rec Department in Highland, and there's amazing amount. We have everything from art to yoga to self-defense.
Ballroom dancing.
Ballroom dancing. Is that a hint?
Yeah, maybe.
So with that, we'll move on.
We've got the Fundraise Your Heart Out event, which is going on today for the Highland Education Foundation. So go down to Mod Pizza here in Highland off of Indianapolis Boulevard over by Target. Bring in a flyer. You can, I don't know if you definitely have to have a flyer as long as you mention it, but you go in there and 20% of the proceeds from your bill will be going to the Highland Education Foundation. And so that's today at Mod Pizza.
Okay, just bear with us a second. I want to check something.
We've got the new Green Witch open up downtown in Highland. It's this fabulous juice bar. They've got salads, sandwiches, soups, and amazing smoothies and teas and things like that. They also have all kinds of different organic and natural products that you can purchase, and a little boutique called Bijou, and it's really wonderful.
Yeah, Kelly and I went there, and it was fantastic. They have nice soups. They have sandwiches, a variety of sandwiches that they'll make for you.
Things.
Yeah, but it's all healthy. Don't go in asking for a brat, because they'll send you
somewhere else,
or a pierogi. No pierogies here.
No, go down to Dan's for that.
Go down to Dan's.
All right, we've got the Highlands Festival of the Trail coming up on Saturday, October 13th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to take place right here on Jewett Street in downtown Highland. There will be farmers markets, artist booths, art for sale, live music and poetry, mural, alcove, food trucks, downtown restaurants, fire department open house, and all kinds of fun for the whole family. Then we have the 6th annual Police and Fire Charity Softball event. It's the Munster Police Department and Fire Department versus the Highland Police Department, Fire Department, Dyer Police Department, Fire Department, and Lansing Police Department and Fire Department. It is on Sunday, September 16th. The games begin at 1:30 p.m. at the Munster Community Park. Tickets are only $5, and the proceeds all help benefit the Cancer Resource Center.
Oh, great friends of ours.
Group of our friends, that's right. Then the New Orleans' very own Dukes of Dixieland will be performing as part of the Northwest Indiana Symphony Orchestra program going on Saturday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. at the Monbeck Auditorium at Highland High School. We've got Trick or Treat at the Villa. It's free to participate, and it is on Sunday, October 28th from 5 to 8 p.m. You can go there with your businesses and set up and everything. There'll be kids' activities, spooky characters, free admission, food and drink concessions, and live entertainment. We've got Respite Care Services' 3rd annual quarter auction. This looks really interesting. It is on Sunday, October 14th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Villa Cesar at 900 Eagle Ridge Drive in Cherville, Indiana. Doors open for shopping at 1 p.m. and Quarter Mania starts at 2 o'clock p.m. Tickets are $10 for one paddle, and that includes a wonderful pasta lunch. If you don't want the lunch, you can get a paddle for $5. Extra paddles are $5 each, so I guess it's some kind of a really fun auction thing, and if you do it in increments of a quarter for all your different things. So it looks like a lot of fun and helping out a great organization.
Yeah, so as opposed to going to the boats with all your quarters.
That's right, you can go there and get all kinds of fun things.
There you go.
The Town of Griffith's annual Public Safety and Community Day is Saturday, September 8th, so this coming Saturday from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. at Griffith Central Park. At 12 o'clock, the Lake County Sheriff's Department helicopter is landing there. At 12:30, Nat Kalita Magic Show. We've got the Griffith High School Pantherettes dance performances coming up. Street Magic with Norman Basile. Demonstrations by Corporal Gutierrez and the canine Gino, puppy dog there. Not puppy dog, he's a hard-working dog, I should say, but they're still so cute, you can't help it. A taser demonstration with Officer Jock. And the raising of Remax hot air balloon, weather permitting. How fun will that be?
Wow, cool. Of course, some people may view that taser demonstration as fun.
I think that would be kind of cool to watch. I don't know if I'd say fun, but I think it's kind of cool.
Depending on who gets tased, I guess.
Yeah, depends on who. That's exactly right.
Michael, you have a list of people you'd like to send to be tased?
I think we all do. I know I have a list.
Now Michael. He just pulled out a whole, 15 pages out of his pocket. We didn't even tell him about this. Okay, so move on.
We've got Ride the Night at Wicker Park on Saturday, September 15th. Registration is at 6:30 p.m. at the West Pavilion, and the ride starts at 7 p.m. The cost is $7 for adults, $5 for children 12 and under. And this is going to just feature a whole bunch of people. You get to decorate your bike with all kinds of fun things, whatever you want. I guess last year somebody had a SpongeBob SquarePants set up on their bicycle. They have all kinds of different decorations and everything. So there are prizes awarded for best decorated bicycles. And this all is being done with Eventbrite and the Highland Griffith Chamber of Commerce. And then show your support for Officer Alex Perez. Join Centier Bank on Friday, September 21st for a lunch fundraiser with all of the proceeds benefiting Officer Alex Perez, who recently suffered a stroke and is now in recovery. They're going to be serving hot dogs, chips, drinks, and a treat at the Centier Bank, the Highland Martha branch, which is right there at 9102 Indianapolis Boulevard, right across the street from Round the Clock. So easy to find and easy to go and support a good cause for an amazing officer who's going through some tough times right now.
And this is one thing that we're going to kind of add to our show. And one thing that I've heard a lot of going around is people like to know sports schedules and scores from the Highland area. So we put them up there. Let's talk about what's happening today at 4:30 p.m. We have the boys varsity tennis over at Hanover Central. Again, that's 4:30 p.m. Actually, I know someone that's on the team.
Good.
5 p.m. we've got the girls JV soccer team over at Michigan City High School. Again, that's at 5 p.m. 5:30 p.m. we have the boys freshman football team at Rensselaer Central High School. And at 7 p.m. we have the girls varsity soccer team at Michigan City High School. Then at 8 a.m., is that right? 8 a.m.? Oh, the
like
NCC tourney. Yeah.
What's going on today.
And then of course tomorrow we have the boys varsity football team of Highland taking on Hammond Gavitt at Hammond. So that's Friday, so that's a pretty big game from what I understand.
Go Trojans, says the Highland girl.
And then Saturday, here's the lineup they've got for Saturday. 10 a.m. we have the boys JV football team at Hammond Gavitt. At 3 p.m. we've got the boys JV soccer team at Chester High School, which ought to be a pretty good game. It's pretty big, two big soccer meccas facing off. Then, of course, we have at 5 p.m. the boys varsity soccer taking on Chesterton High School at Chesterton. Then, as far as cross country is concerned, 9 a.m. there's a cross country match for the at Lowell Invitational. Then at 9 a.m. the boys tennis varsity team that's the Highland doubles invite, so that's at Highland. Then of course we've got the 9 a.m. the girls freshman volleyball team taking on Crown Point, and there you have it. And we're going to try to work in some scores later on. It's just that I don't have them right now. Actually, I do, but we'll get them. So that's it. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
and just to tell you a little bit about Michael, and try to correct me because I always make mistakes on this show. That's why Kelly's here.
I nudge.
So Michael has been a lifelong resident of Lake County, born and raised in Hammond. You are Hammond Tech grad, right?
Tech grad, yes.
Yeah, awesome. And basically you've had 4 years experience of managing streets or taking care of streets in the area.
Well, actually, I go back because I worked for the State Highway Department too. Actually, when I retired last May, I actually had 36 years of highway and road maintenance in Northwest Indiana.
Wow.
All the way from foreman at the Highway Department to operator here in Griffith. Yeah.
Now,
And I also worked 4 years for the town of Highland Street Department.
oh, wow.
During that stretch of all those years, those decades, yes.
Were you here during the big snowstorms?
Well, actually, over that 36 years, there were so many I couldn't. there was that by the foot.
Yeah.
By the foot.
And Michael's been extremely active in the Democratic Party. He's been a precinct committeeman for the past 2 terms at Griffith. And he's also the Lake County Democratic Central Committee Outreach Coordinator.
Yes, I am.
And
That is. Did you want me to explain what that is? Why we're-
yes, please do.
Okay, that was set up because we now have in the party, and just like in the United States right now, there are a lot of progressives, a lot of extreme progressives and stuff, and then there's the centrist Democrats, the how can I put that?
Mainstream.
Yeah, the mainstream Democrats. So my job is to try to keep everybody as close to the same page as possible, through Lake County, so that we can all work together our job is to get Democrats elected and stuff. So we have to work together, because sometimes we all have the same common core feelings, absolutely, but some are a little bit different, a little more extreme, than to the left. So my job is to keep everybody kind of working on the same page, so we can get Democrats elected through Lake County and through the state. And
If not, go to that one event with the taser and have people
Just
that don't
buzz
line up
everybody.
and just stand here. I jest.
that's okay.
I'm kidding.
It's a joke. Get a sense of humor. No.
Really, it's me.
Yeah, he's just whacked.
Take me serious? Really? Seriously? Oh, all right. Oh, let's go on here. Okay, so we're getting close to you're the chairman of the Griffith Calumet Township Democratic Precinct Committee. Holy moly, that's
Yes, I
that's a
have-
big
I have-
mouthful.
I have 18 precincts in Griffith, the 18 in Griffith, and the 6 in Calumet Township
Wow.
that I take care of. Yes. For now, it could change. In the long run, we're having the secession vote. I didn't know if you want to talk about that now.
Sure.
yeah. Why don't we talk a bit about it now?
Okay,
But
real quick, it's September 25th in Griffith. The vote is either yes or no to stay with Calumet Township, or to secede from Calumet Township, and that is the last I've heard of that. So the Republican Party is more running that. They're having signs made up and everything. Vote yes, of course, to leave. And so we can talk about that more later.
Okay.
we've got no opinion.
We don't
So-
live in Griffith. We don't really. I mean, we can have an opinion, but it won't make any difference. We don't get to vote.
No, because you'll never know if it's a joke or not. So.
Yeah. Right.
But what brought you here is that we wanted to talk a bit about Griffith and neat things going on in Griffith. We're huge fans, even though we live in Highland. We view Highland and Griffith as cousin communities. They share some of the same resources and whatnot. You were just recently appointed by the Lake County Council to be a member of the Economic Development Commission in Griffith,
Yes.
which is kind of exciting.
Yes, it is. I'm pumped up. Councilman Rife has said they don't meet very often, but I'm ready to go. In fact, I meet 5 days a week. I'm retired now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
There you go. Well, yeah, gosh, I mean, whenever we go through Broad Street, it's kind of neat for us because there's so much happening on Broad Street. We have, cornerstone businesses like Blythe's, which is, it's no longer owned by the family, but still, it's been a cornerstone of Griffith for ages. The Blythe family, went to Griffith High School, and Mike and his dad, and then we have a lot of neat stores along that area. We have Grindhouse, the neat coffee shop that has gained notoriety.
I like the Grindhouse. Gabe Welch is the owner there.
Yeah,
He's a good
Gabe's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
We like him.
And
Yeah.
we do usually when we have our meetings there. In fact, when I had coffee with U.S. Representative Sklaski, we have coffee at least once or twice a year. We had it there the last time and stuff, and Gabe was just thrilled to death because he helped his family through the years, so we got all the pictures going and everything.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think you put one of them on your page today with me and Representative Sklaski, and that was at the Grind.
Oh, that's
Very
at
cool.
Grindhouse, and we've had Gabe on our show. He
We had Gabe on,
participated in
absolutely.
a kind of like a group conversation about coffee and beers in the region,
Right.
and that was really neat. We had that
lot of
over at
fun.
Byway Brewery, and one of the things that we kind of enjoy about Griffith, although we're not huge beer drinkers, but you've got 3 breweries.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a huge beer drinker either, so I have to admit I've never been. The only one I've ever been in is Wild Rose,
Okay.
and that's because the Lake County Young Democrats had their meeting there, and I was invited to speak there. So that was why I was in there that night. And I did try one of their. I went up to the. I said, "You have anything like a Miller or a Budweiser?" I don't mean to give anybody a prop. He goes, "No." Give me something like that. And then he gave me something that didn't taste anything like that. But
And did they bring out a bottled water for you?
no, they did not. But they brought out these little bitty cups of beer that you could buy and try them out. I go, I'm not doing that.
Flights.
I said, because they were very dark. They looked like cola, and I said, no.
No.
Yeah, but Wild Rose is probably the larger of the ones.
It is. That's a
It is
big
the
it's
biggest
a
one.
great
That's where we
place.
do our
They've-
shows on
Yes.
Wednesday nights.
Yeah, they've had a lot of benefits there.
Yes.
The good entertainment, and
Very
it's just a
active in
neat
the
place.
community.
And,
It is.
You know, first of all, I think it speaks to a lot of craftsmanship, because if you look at, I go into some of the buildings, just not in Lake County, but Porter County, look up, and you just have to cringe sometimes about the electrical work. That place is done.
Says the electrical engineer. That's
but,
what he cares
but
about.
of course, it was done by union electricians.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That's
Union
right.
all the way, pal.
That's right.
Anything else, there's scabs, and you got to tear that stuff out, right? So no, it's a beautifully done. The lights and everything in there is very well done, and we
And
do
the
our
new
show there.
Oberpfalz and Pokro are both
Yeah.
amazing as well.
Right.
You've got Twincade, and you've got the bowling lounge, and you've got charcuterie, and the new B&Me, and all
Yeah.
kinds of fun things down there.
Yeah. So that's what we kind of invited you here, because we know it's new for you. You haven't started. Like I said, you asked when our first meeting is. They're like, well, we don't.
I'm ready.
you're retired. You could have them anytime,
ready.
8 o'clock every day, right?
I was pumped up to get appointed to that. Yes,
I think
absolutely.
it's
yes.
great.
Well, I think it's great because it's one of these communities like Highland that has a lot of potential. You see it down Broad Street. You see it down 45th and Main Street. And so it's got a lot of potential. So, talk to us about, you've been a resident there. What are your hopes for Griffith? What do you hope to see it do in
And
the
like
future?
you said too, because I lived in Highland for many years, and my children all graduated from the Highland school. I like Highland a lot too. That was a big. It was hard for me to move when I did because I went through a divorce, and I was working for the town of Griffith, but I was still living in Highland at the time. So I looked and I found a house here, and I moved back. It was about 18 years ago, and it was probably the better thing that I've ever done on that. And I like the small, just like most people say. Some people call it, which I'm not big on using that terminology, like a Mayberry, but it's a small town, but it's also like Highland. It's a small town, but it's getting bigger, and it's way more diverse now than it was even when I moved in there. And a lot of people maybe don't pay attention or realize that, the Mansard Apartments have now changed over ownership to Park West now. They put an unbelievable amount, because I only live, in fact, I live 2 blocks from the Mansard. Well, they're the Park West now, but it'll always be the Mansords to me.
Yeah,
from all
just
all
like
years.
Sears Tower's
My
always going to be
sisters
Sears
lived
Tower.
there back decades
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
So
It was the hot place for a long
it
time.
absolutely was. It
Yeah.
absolutely was. It was one of the top places in the whole area. So they're coming. They put a lot of money into it. A lot of money into the buildings, into the security, into the lots they've repaved. I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, because I worry about that area. I brought it up back in the council races back in 15, because that corridor up there, that Ridge Road corridor that I basically live right off of. I live on Elmer Street right off of Arbogast, which is right off of Ridge Road, about 2 blocks. That area is kind of in fact, the big liquor store, which I can't even remember their name, they closed down. That large one, they closed down. It's just, and the buildings in the little strip mall there on Ridge Road, right between Arbogast and Glenwood, they go in and out all the time, and that bothers me, because that section of town kind of gets passed over, and we fought about that 4 years ago. It's true, it gets passed over, and of course downtown they got all the money when it came in from the CNN to fix it up and thing, which is great, because what a lot of people like, and what you both like, and what's one of the things in the Times the best downtown in that best of the region.
Right.
And so it is a big deal to people, but other than that, which is fantastic, you also have to realize you have other businesses around
Exactly.
in your town also, and a couple of them have suffered up through that way. I mean, maybe many reasons why they had to leave or they left, but a lot of them have gone about the way, and it's a big deal to me to keep that area also, to keep all the areas of town, because our southern part of Griffith, we have no businesses down there at all. That's residential.
Right.
And so we want to keep, all of Griffith included, which was a big thing to me. Not just to where you have to pull up to go to downtown to which is okay, because anywhere, we've always talked about this too. Anywhere you're in Griffith, barring a train, you can get to the other end of town in 5 minutes.
Right.
The trains in Lake County. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, when I lived in Valparaiso, did for 30 years almost, and we had one train track that ran through. No, actually two. Sorry, people, they're like, where was he living? And yeah, it was a nuisance. But oh my word, man. Oh my word!
And I'll admit it's the worst trains, because I grew up there. The worst trains I have ever dealt with are in Hammond.
Yes.
And I think regardless,
Kennedy,
oh my gosh,
that's one of the ones where you'll get caught, and then if you got to go all the way around the city, and you're still going to get caught with that.
I just remember as a kid going to Edward C. Minus's and going down home, and then always getting stuck by trains somewhere down there.
But this is the funny thing. I remember, back when I was in high school, I remember going to. Where was the restaurant, the fish restaurant in Hammond that everyone went to? But it was was it the 5 Point, where they had a lot of intersection, and then
by Lever Brothers?
Yeah. What was the name?
Or that's what I was thinking when you said 5
Bill
Point.
Schmitz.
Okay.
Bill Schmitz. Yeah, up by Lever Brothers. And so,
yeah. So I remember seeing all these railroad tracks. As a kid, I didn't care back then. I said, "Wow, man." I bet things really back up here. And this is in high school. I didn't care, but but then, when we were trying to get out of the parking lot, it's like, wow, we're going to have to wait here. But I don't know how you people did it all along. I grew up in Gary, where there was barely any trains, where I lived, and we moved to Maryville, and had one train I could remember running through town. Then I moved back to Lake County. It's like, wow, people plan their day around the train tracks. I don't know anyone, regardless of what party you're on, that has a complaint about these trains.
Absolutely.
But anyway, let's get another subject, because that's kind of like the weather. You can't do anything about it. But one thing is kind of interesting, because I said, one time I saw one of these trains stop, and I said, can't they get in trouble for that? And this is something I didn't know. I see. Well, the train companies, that's a part, they build that into their cost of doing business. So when they stop, it starts ticking up. They get ticketed, but they just pay them off. And hey, we got to stop there. And maybe
Well, the bad thing is, the last time I got caught by the worst train in Griffith, I was actually taking my walk. It rerouted me around the whole time, so I was dragging. By the time I got back, the train broke down. It was broke down. It was across all the tracks, 45th, 40th, everything they were across, but it was broke down. I think it was broke down for 3 hours, and that's something you can't help. But once that,
well, we can't stand this topic too long.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you, I've got some very personal reasons I can't. My daughter works for one of the train companies, and one of her jobs used to be routing trains. I'm sure none of this is her fault.
No, of course it's not.
Be kind to her next time you see her, because she could stop a train on you and cause you all sorts of hurt. So let's get back to the economic development, because a lot of people, I know growing up, when I looked at town structures, you had the town manager, blah, 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 and all of a sudden you ended up with next thing you know, you've got this redevelopment commission, you've got this economic development commission. Can you kind of explain to us, for those people who are just not that knowledgeable about town or city governments, what is the Economic Development Commission? What do they do?
Well,
and don't keep politics out of this.
No, well, no, that actually doesn't. It's not always like we were talking about, and I'm a big believer in this too. It's for the good of the citizens of your community. It's not party doesn't come into as big a play to me in localized government like that, like small towns and stuff. Bigger cities it does, because like I said, I grew up in Hammond and was involved in Hammond politics before I moved out of there also, and it is a big deal. You know, it's not just about the citizens, it's about the party also. But the Economic Development Commission, like I said, I haven't even got my feet wet with this yet, so it's going to be a learning process and a learning curve for me too. I'll admit that, but I'm all in. You know that I'm all for the good of whatever helps citizens and whatever helps the community grow, whichever party is in power, as long as our community stays healthy and grows and doesn't flatten out anywhere along the line, because I'm kind of just a little bit I've been noticing the last few days in Griffith and few weeks that we're kind of, I mean, I know the Rock and Rail Fest, huge success, huge, brings everybody there, and like I said, and I've always said this, and it's not anything, so help me, for the beer drinkers world, but if you have a party like that and you sell beer, you're going to get people there. Period, and have bands. You absolutely will. In fact, one of my favorite bands, and I'm going to have to give them a little bit of a here because I love them to death. Dark Horse, they played there this year.
I heard that.
Yes, a very very wonderful band, and very good friends on that band between Jake and Danny and stuff, and the rest. They're a big deal, and I kind of pushed this year to get them to play there again. Mr. Rifa, and last year. They played there, and hopefully we'll get them on the big stage coming up. And that's a big thing.
Nice.
Big thing to me, yeah.
What about industry in Griffith? I mean, your hopes to maybe bring in more, or is your desire not
See,
to?
we've lost a lot. What we did have, they're kind of, we're not. It's not an industrial town. It's not a. It's not like. How can I put like even like Highland with all the stores they have, Kohl's and so forth, the bigger stores out on the boulevard there and stuff. We really don't have that. We have the Kmart up there, the Menards. The last I heard, like I said, this is why I'm interested in getting going with this.
Right.
Because what I heard 4 years ago, have not come to pass yet. So I'm not sure what the whole Menards was supposed to take over where Kmart was and build that into a super Menards. It had plans for a lot of fancy landscaping, everything built up and really nice. And now that has been 4 years ago, and I've not heard anything else about that yet. So I'm just not sure. I mean, but. On that, and also the golf course, they had plans of building on that. Actually, the last I heard, the engineer that was at the council meeting, this was years ago, they were talking about putting like an office building of some sort there, and they thought they could attract people from Chicago, but I personally am still not sure. I mean, good idea. I'm all for anything, other than just that vacant, land that's gotten kind of run down looking and stuff. In fact, the town of Griffith sewer plant is up top there, as you go wind around the back of the golf course and stuff. But I'm just not sure if the flooding can be taken care of in a way where you can build a building like that and it could stay there, because that is what has been the problem there in that area still. Down where Baker Produce and stuff, it's still flooded when we have rain. Because I know I manned the pumps last spring before I retired, so I know this.
So what you're saying is to bring business in that area, you got to solve the flooding problem that they have.
Definitely a flood situation there. In through that, I mean, I thought they had it. I mean, I know they keep working on it, but it just. I mean, I know when you have an unbelievable rain, and I'm not talking about like a half inch or so, I'm talking about when it rains for days. And what happened last spring, we had the snow that melted
absolutely.
off, and then we had I don't know if you remember that, them couple days in there, and it just rained round the clock.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
It just kept raining.
Bridges and things in Munster were all closed.
Of course, a lot of things can flood just any way that normally wouldn't, but not everything does, but it just so happens that's where a lot of Griffith's businesses are right up through off of 35th up there and stuff, off of Klein. So it's a
So
situation.
you've got to make sure the infrastructure is there if we're going to draw business into that area.
Well, I'm big on the infrastructure, yes. And the town of Griffith did do. They paved a lot of the streets. And don't take this wrong, Councilman Rice. I'm glad you paved the streets. I'll put that little preempt in there. But because I worked for the town, it was a fast done paving. It's not one that's built to last for many years. It cost the town a lot of money. And in fact, the clerk treasurer at that time said by doing all these roads, it will put Griffith right up against the debt wall and stuff. So we always got to look at that, how that's going to unwind, as the years go on. Because, of course, and a lot of those were paved right before the last election, which I understand that. Everybody who's in power, who's going to run again, does things like that because who doesn't want their streets paved and their alleys paved?
Right.
When we went door to door during that time, and I went door to door to meet with people and stuff and see people, you can't go to the door and tell them, you don't like your streets paved or your alleys paved, do you? Of course you do. So you have to sell yourself. That's what you're doing. I'll be your bigger voice and be what you need me to be and be there for you all the time. That's what that comes down to.
Well,
and I know that got a little too political, but that's how that unrolled.
One of the things that I think a town particularly has to balance against is their income, their tax base, constantly monitoring it. I know Highland has the benefit of having one of the best clerk treasurers in the state.
Michael Griffin's a good man.
Oh, he is an
Love
excellent guy.
Griffin.
We've had him on the show here. We've got to get him on again.
I went to school
He's
with him.
busy. Yeah.
Oh, if he's ever on the show again, ask me. I'll come in because I love him. I love Michael
all right,
Griffin.
good.
Hear that? We love you,
Absolutely.
Mike.
All right,
Yeah.
We'll have you on, play baritone, anything. Just come back
Yeah.
on.
Good man.
So,
one of the best elected officials in the state of Indiana.
Well,
Absolutely.
when we bring up his name, Porter County, wherever, he's looked at as an authority on municipal finance.
Indianapolis, people, all you got to do is bring his name up. He is,
Yeah,
yes.
he's great. I think Highland is very blessed to have him, and he's done great things. And people, he expresses caution, but when your clerk treasurer expresses caution, you gotta listen because he's the guy that keeps a handle on the finances. And great guy. So one of the things that I was getting at is there's always that balance. You can't just go out and take care of these problems. You got to make sure. But one of the problematic things is it's a balancing act. Yeah, you've got to get that done to bring your tax base up, to bring those, because with the tax caps, quite honestly, those are the guys who hold a lot of the weight as far as paying taxes, the commercial entities. And then you got their renting properties and so on. But how do you do that? So I guess that's going to be a challenge that you're going to have to face. And and hearing your clerk treasurer come to you guys and say, well, this is what we can do. Here's what we got. But that is one of the biggest things. I guess there's a balance, and I'm not sure what the barometer is right now in Griffith. Are they willing, if they did get these and got industry to come in, is that what they want to do? Do they want to bring big boxes in? Do they want to bring in a manufacturing plant?
Well, see, all political people would like that, that luxury of more. But the people don't. Well, like I said, without it being, they not Mayberry, but they like the small town feeling. And if you get surrounded by the industry and stuff, you don't feel so small anymore. You feel closed in. And so it's the people like it that way. They don't mind traveling to another town or city for their employment, like say in Chicago at the Mills or Gary at the Mills or somebody or Chicago to work at, but they don't necessarily want Griffith to be an industrial mecca, shall I say.
Right.
Or even like with Highland, but there's most of them up on the boulevard here, very little residential and stuff, but Griffith wouldn't like that. I'm thinking, I'm not saying that I know, all the citizens, but the ones that I've talked to don't want to be closed in with, they don't mind going to Highland, go shopping, going to Merivale.
Or going down to Ridge Road, which is
right.
more.
Yes. Yeah, but see, Ridge Road is getting a little iffy, and that's where my other. And the one thing I did want to bring up as we were talking about that, and this is a true, because I did talk to the council president, which a lot of people don't realize, because I didn't even know this 4 years ago. Because everybody always said, the money that Rock and Rail Fest makes, that town probably got money. You can't cram the safe door shut. Well, that money does not go into the town. That money that is made at the Rock and Rail Fest stays in the festival fund. It is not for. So in other words, it can't pay employee wages, paving and stuff. It's not for that. So that's a.
And Valparaiso has an event, Valpo events that put on the Popcorn Fest a lot, and a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of those dollars go to support the next fest.
Right, that's exactly it.
With
the
hope,
vendors and back in, yes,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With the hopes, though, is a worm on the hook to bring in businesses for all of the. Because I know the restaurants benefit greatly at the Popcorn Fest in Valparaiso. So I think that's probably Rock and Rail. That's what their hopes are, that all those companies around there benefit from all those people coming in, listening to the music, selling food. And you have the vendors that, open up booths and whatnot from Griffith area. So, yeah, that's one give or take. People wondering, well, gosh, where's all this money going? And it's
because
a lot of time.
I wondered 4 years ago. I actually had that question. Because I wasn't sure, because at that time we were that was a big fight. We were going through wage fights with the town council at the time, because our wages were frozen for many years, and we were going through a big fight trying to get more per hour and a couple different things for our benefits and stuff, but they kept claiming the town was broke, and we're thinking, well, with the Rock and Rail Fest, that's impossible.
Yeah.
You could give us the money out of that, and that was it, but they can't.
Yeah, things that.
So that's, yes.
Yeah, and that's what we probably, if we had Michael Griffin here, he could do a better job. And there's funds that are legislated by state, and state statutes that dictate what funds can be used for what purposes. And that, whereas a town manager, you sit there, and that's got to be the worst part of your job. And I said, well, we wish we could fix that, but I have money here, but I can't move the, and that's why we have people like Mike Griffin to worry about those things.
And I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Oh, he does. Believe me, he does.
But he can handle them well. He can handle them.
Yeah,
well.
he does. He does.
Yeah.
He's boy, straight as an arrow. Though I can tell you, he'd probably be the one to tell you State Board of Accounts are the people he has to answer to at the end of the day, and that's what all the municipalities are. So, what is there something in the environment, in I'd say like small businesses, that you would like to see in Griffith, bring in Griffith?
Well, I know we're losing another one, and I'm not sure. I didn't check why the video store out on 45th and Colfax, it's closed. Across from the library, and I'm not sure. It's not
this Family Video or whatever it is.
Yes. I know those are, and I'm going to have to go with this, because nowadays I'm thinking video stores and anything like that probably have a hard time competing, because my grandkids, when they're over at the house, they love the Xbox, and you can just download everything. I mean, it just comes right off my card, and everything's downloaded onto the machine. You don't have to go to the video store.
Right.
Well, you got the
they have Netflix now,
yeah.
and everything, which the kids love, the grandkids love. So it's I could probably see where they would have a hard time fighting and saying, and that's one of the ones that's also is not a Marco's Pizza.
Right.
Like the one in Highland. Right. That's not that. So that's what. And then, like I said, we lost the liquor store on Ridge Road. For some reason, it just closed out of nowhere the other day. I was told that they had put a sign on the door and that's that big one there with the huge sign and everything. Right. So I'm not. And then through that little strip mall there on Ridge, they move in and out. A lot of them move in and out so fast. Some have stayed. Some have made it through weathered the storm and stuff. But I definitely like the ma and pa organizations because, well, for 22 years I worked part-time for one. I worked for another plug, and I'm sorry, Squeegee's in Highland right over here. Jim and Teresa Dills. I worked for them for 22 years. Hope you're listening, Jim and Teresa. But I worked for them for 22 years, and that is definitely a ma and pa thing. The kids, I seen the kids grow up actually there. The children grow up there, from when they were little, and it's a big deal to me, and especially in, like I said, towns. Cities you get kind of seems like you get washed away a little bit sometimes, but definitely in towns you get the chance of where more people seem to know each other when you go into places, and like the Grindhouse, it's a good meeting place where everybody likes to go in. They seem like they know each other, and have a seat. And everybody, whenever they want to have a meeting with me, they always say, "Well, let's meet at the Grindhouse." I go, "Okay, let's meet at the Grindhouse." So that we definitely want to keep them. Yes.
And that's one of the balancing acts I guess you have as a town. I know Chesterton is the very same way. A lot of people were critical of Chesterton for being so closed-minded and not allowing the big boxes in or big plants. And I began understanding why. A lot of their existing businesses were mom and pop operations, like Running Vine Winery, a big place in downtown Chesterton, and
Octave is local.
Octave, and a lot of those businesses in downtown. I can't think of one that's part of a chain. So by allowing those big boxes in, they've had the opportunity. They had an opportunity for Menards, Walmart, Sam's, and they sent them all in their way. And it's got to be difficult in the way because the town manager, I could bring in there, but what is that going to do to our downtown? I guess Valpo's done a good job of balancing. John Costas has done an excellent job trying to balance it out because, you still have a downtown area.
And there are some things you can't get from the smaller mom and pops too, and that's where places like Kohl's and Menards and different things like that come into play.
Exactly.
You have to have a balance.
Boy, you got a job ahead of you there. And, but it's
exciting.
But I'm looking forward to everything. Yes, this is a big adventure for me. I just retired May the 4th, and now I'm running out of home projects. I got a lot of things done that I haven't done in 25 years and stuff. So I'm kind of getting those rolled and getting done now. And I mean, I'm not in a hurry to go back to work. I'm hoping that those days are done. But I'm doing now what I've wanted to do all those years, the political stuff that I do and everything, and for the town. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
And the county.
Absolutely, yes. It's more interesting, I think, than people realize, because people sometimes look at you and go, "You're just a politician. I hate all politicians. I hate anything to do with that." But remember, it's people like me and the people you elect, which you have to go vote. Believe me, you have to vote. Not voting has consequences, believe me, as we're living through right now. I had to put that in, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, actually, that is not.
As we're living through right now. So it is a big deal. You don't have to, I don't get people to try to love me, but you have to understand what I do and what I try to do. My biggest thing is to get you to come down on election day and vote. That is what all our precinct people, to get you to come vote. Like we went through years ago. They wanted to register, the goal was 10,000 new people in the region, which I'll register anybody to vote anytime. Because I'm a precinct committee, I can register anybody anytime. But you can get 10,000 extra people, and like I've always said, that's great, but you've got to come out and vote. I get 10,000 people, and only 500 of them come out and vote. That's still 500 more, but that 9,500 didn't come down to the polls. I mean,
and that's something in the nation is a problem to me.
Big time.
And when I read an article in USA Today that we only have about 15 to 20% voters. We are down in developed nations, in the bottom 10% of all developed nations, and people actually go out and vote. And but also we've got the biggest complainers.
Yes.
So it's you want to. I want someone to do an analysis. Okay, you people that complain, how many of you vote? and see what that turns out to be, because that's the answer. You know, we live in a republic, a democratic society that we, you know, but yeah, and that's something that's troubling to me, because my dad, you know, and again, Democrat, Republican, he went door to door and made sure everyone, and he ended up with a 98% turnout in his precinct, and so I mean that's what his deal was.
I asked you to come out and vote no matter what you're going to vote. I'll register. I've had people tell me before, you didn't register a Republican. I'll register anybody to vote. Just come out and vote. Make your voice be heard.
Yes.
You know, intelligently vote, because, like I said, elections have consequences. Take my word on that. I'll use one example, absolutely. In 2015, during the municipal elections in Griffith, it was a 73-degree, I'll never forget it, sunny day in November, the first Tuesday in November. In Griffith, Indiana, 2,000 people only came out and voted. And in the last election, last May, in the primary, I had 60 people vote at my precinct. There's 600 registered voters. It was 80 degrees that day and sunny.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing, you know, people are constantly using excuses. Well, I don't have a car, blah blah blah. You know, Lyft is offering free rides to people now.
Well, there's early
day.
Voting.
Yeah.
They push absentee voting now.
Yes, all kinds of
I
ways to
bring
vote.
absentee ballots to anybody in Griffith that wants one. Absolutely. So the excuses of not being able to make it to a poll anymore are
Null and void.
not as easy.
Right. And this is a bipartisan issue. This is
Absolutely,
whether you're
yeah.
Democrat, Republican, Libertarian.
Come out and vote.
Yeah.
You got to come out and
Definitely.
vote.
Now tell me about this vote that's coming up this month in Griffith. What is that for?
It's September 25th. It's a Tuesday, I believe that falls on. That is for the secession vote. I believe I pronounced that right. Secession vote to leave Calumet Township. Whether the town of Griffith, the people of the town of Griffith want to leave Calumet Township or stay with Calumet. It's either a yes or no vote. There is no thinking about it. Either yes, I want to stay, or I think no. Excuse me. Yes, I want to leave, or no, I want to stay in Calumet Township. And I guess because the first thing I heard through the county, the election board called me. Michelle Feynman right now is out sick. So it was one of the deputies that called me just out of nowhere and said, we're going to have to start getting people ready to work the polls. We'll have to provide an inspector and the clerk. The Republicans are going to provide the judge. We still haven't got our boards yet. Those are the ones that we fill out to put the people in. This election now, this is, I believe, the 6th or 7th today. It's the 25th. So I'm not sure what the holdup of this. I talked to the Republican chairman in Griffith. I told him, you're going to have to handle a lot of this because it was actually their idea. Every Democrat in Lake County down to the election board did not want this to go off like this. They wanted this to be on the November ballot, which it should have been, because now we're going to have to open the polls September 26th, and they want what we thought was the original deal going to be. They were only going to have either 1 or 2 polling places open in all of Griffith. One was at Town Hall, and one was located somewhere else, which I could have went along with that. That was okay. Now they decided they want to open all 18 precincts. All polls will be open in Griffith. It's not as easy to pull off as everybody, as they think.
That's a lot
What
of
was
work.
the reason for wanting it to have a special election for this? Why couldn't they wait till the election?
Well, this is just my speculation part because I don't want to start the war of the world. If it would have been on the November ballot, I believe they're afraid that not enough people would have came out to vote for it. It might have got jumbled up because there will be other candidates on. But we had a chairman's meeting the other night, and Lake County Chairman James Weiser, our chairman, even brought it up. The Republicans barely filed anyone to run against Democrats in the entire county. The auditor's race is uncontested. The treasurer's race is uncontested. There's county council seats uncontested. The sheriff's race, that one is a contested one. There's representative races. What he believes is the Republicans just didn't want people to come out and vote, so they just didn't file people. So our council decided, well, that wouldn't be good, because if nobody bothers to come out and vote, they're not going to vote to leave Calumet Township. So they got it worked out, so this is a special election, separate. So what they don't realize is we're having an election September 25th, and then the November general election, the first Tuesday in November, which that date slips me right now, I'm sorry, that about 6 weeks apart, and it's costly and harder to do.
Now, let's go back for the reason, because I need to be educated on this. Is this because of the financial difficulties in Calumet Township, the township office?
The claim is, and what I've always tried to realize what they were talking about, that was the mismanagement of it over the years. The Calumet Township trustee and of the funds, and that was part of it. Councilman Rife said they had actually about 3 or 4 different ways to get out because of the situation, and they also didn't bring it in to the percentage they had to with the taxes they took in. They took in to where that Griffith paid, to where they paid out the help to the needy, and also the fact that Gary and Calumet Township are so huge, they believe, the members of Griffith believe that we pay, of course, way too much tax as to what we get back
from the township, Calumet Township services.
Which, like I said, that is a truism. I mean, that I'm not going to deny. The only thing I ever fought over with was years ago when we got into the fight of where they basically told me there's no poor people in Griffith, and I'm like, oh no, let me guarantee you there are poor people in Griffith. You know,
unfortunately, there are poor people everywhere.
Yes, I'm like,
and
no,
even in
no.
Highland, and it's
no, there are poor people in Griffith. There are needy families in Griffith. Now, they're not. Well, for one thing, we're a town of 17,000. Gary is 85,000, and then you have all of Calumet Township, the unincorporated area of Calumet Township. So, of course, there's many more people. You know, absolutely. You know, but I also didn't have a problem because maybe, you know, and especially back then, maybe it's those liberal thoughts in my mind. I never have a problem helping people in need, and I will even pay a little more to help someone else, you know, make it in life, you know, because that, you know, and even if they don't live in Griffith, Indiana, because that's important, you know.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
yeah,
it's not a handout, it's a hand up. Maybe I always felt that way. You know, it's maybe it'll, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it's an opinion that's out there, and it definitely, I guess this will take care of it, but yeah, we'll see how that rolls. Well, we are at the close of the show.
Yeah, we are.
Well, listen, is there anything else you want to pass on out there? What, you know, about your hopes and dreams of Griffith is?
Any parting words to the viewers?
Just please always come out and vote. That's my job, one of my basic jobs. And if you're not registered, please register. I know people are discontent now with a lot of things, but things are going to get better. I promise. So please come out and vote and have your voices heard. Absolutely, it's one of your basic rights, and it's your say so.
Yeah. And by the way, one thing I feel negligent about saying, although I did put it in our show promo, you are an Army veteran.
Yes, sir.
So that speaks a lot. We appreciate your service.
Absolutely.
And you know, there you go. You have a veteran asking you to vote. So,
absolutely.
With that, listen, we really appreciate you coming
so
on.
much.
You did a great job explaining what's
Thank
going
you.
on.
I had a
so
great
much.
time. Yes,
Love to
you're
have you
both
back,
wonderful.
and you know, when you get established and actually go to one of those meetings.
That'll be coming up because I'm going to push.
Yeah, if you could have
I
some
really
of those
want to
folks.
hear what's going to go on with the Kmart area.
Yeah, me too.
That's important to me.
We would love to have them all on the show and just
Absolutely.
have them sit down here and just talk about
Roundtable
the
discussion.
great, what great
I'm good with
community
that.
it is.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
yes.
and to go from there, because we're all about, as you can see, promoting community. We love telling people what's going on out there. The fest was awesome.
Yes.
We weren't able to go to that, but we heard it was great.
We heard lots.
And so, I mean, it's a great community we've got here. It's a beautiful community. So we just all got to appreciate it and vote.
Absolutely.
Vote. With that, listen, we are going to close out the show. Michael, again, we appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. And see, it wasn't bad.
No,
you didn't have to dress up though.
But I love the purple tie.
Oh, thank you.
It's cool. It's dark shirt, purple tie.
Yeah, we match.
Yeah.
You got the memo.
It's so Lake County-ish.
Yeah.
Get it?
Sorry, I'm joking. I have to do that because there's some
I
people
know,
out
yes.
there. With that, listen, everyone have a very pleasant rest of the week, and we wish you all a safe week. We wish the weather is going to be better, but keep an eye out for what's going to happen out there. I get, the possibility of rain is going to diminish as we get towards the weekend, but it's still going to be around there. A lot of upper level moisture, and again, we're still looking at tropical depression causing some problems in the area.
And for those of us celebrating the Jewish New Year on Monday and the holy days coming up, Lashana Tova to everyone.
Oh, and by the way, this lady is a year older.
Yeah, I had a birthday on Monday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Got a birthday kiss?
There you go.
Yeah, something
Birthday
you won't
kiss.
see on any other show in the area. And you probably don't, actually. So
You don't want to see it.
we'll leave it at that, folks. Listen, have a great day and a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.